This is DJ 745 representing for World of Reggae, live and direct here with Comes from Raging Fyah on the grand finale of the Everlasting Tour.
Yeah man, big up Shriek, we give thanks. Rob behind the cameras. World of Reggae, yeah man, we give thanks. It's the final show in the UK now for this last Everlasting Tour that we've been on. Yeah, and it's sold out, can you believe that?
You know, I don't find that hard to believe because the Fyah squad is growing across the world, and we've seen that you've done so many dates across Europe in the last 4 weeks. What has been the most memorable show so far from Raging Fyah's perspective?
Well, I think Italy was a really good show that was sold out as well in Italy, and also the German dates, the 3 German shows were amazing because Germany is where I think we first got introduced to Europe, so to see those 3 concerts in Germany packed. You know, Berlin, Mannheim, and where was the other one? Hamburg. Yeah. So it's been great. But so far, I think Italy take the cake. You know, it was a pleasant surprise. Our first time in Italy. You know, so. Mm-hmm.
One thing that I'm noticing, looking at a lot of the posts on social media, is that the age range of people that are coming out to see Raging Fyah. What is it like?
Yeah, it varies, man. Like you can never bet that you're gonna see teenagers or just, you know, people over their 40s and 50s. Like it's a mix of everybody, and mostly women too. I see a lot of women coming to Raging Fyah concerts, and I wonder why. Yeah, but it's been an interesting audience, you know, and just traveling through Europe, the demographic is quite interesting, you know, to see that, you know, the different languages. Like we've been in 7 countries in about 30 days. So it's a totally different, you know, scenario each day, but it's been good. Mm-hmm.
And obviously earlier on in this year, we had the Everlasting album that was released on the 27th of May, 2016, VP Records, Dub Rockers. What has the response been like? Because I know that you did a lot of touring in the United States as well.
Yeah, well, the United States, we've been touring with the band Stick Figure. You see Stick Figure here tonight. They'll be opening on this side of the globe. But in the US, like, we were honored to open for them. You know, many people probably didn't see that move. Like, many people would have been like, why are you going to open for a band in the US? You guys are a reggae band. But I think, you know, the world has changed. And I think those guys, they're playing their version of, you know, how they interpret what was created from Jamaica, the roots, you know. And to me, I love it. It's pretty interesting to see, you know, it feels a lot sublime. It feels a lot like a mix of rock music sometimes and influences of like alternative music with reggae music, which is something that I'm interested in. And so when I watch Scott and his band Stick Figure play, it's very interesting. And touring through the US, they're huge. They're huge. So it's like we got to tour the US in front of thousands of people each night, touring with those guys. So now we're just returning the favor, where they're touring with us in Europe, you know, playing in front of our audiences that we've, you know, accumulated over the years. So yeah, it's straight touring, man, and it's not gonna stop anytime soon.
I mean, for me, I think that, you know, Everlasting, it's, you know, like we say that this is the trilogy. We've had Judgment Day, Destiny, and some of the songs, some of the themes that you've covered on Everlasting, they're really touching in people's hearts.
Yeah, Everlasting, like we had to solidify ourselves, not as a popular hype band, but as an everlasting band, a band that, I mean, I spoke about Creedence Clearwater. I use them as reference a lot simply because Creedence Clearwater Revival as a group of musicians, you know, John Fogerty and his brother Tom and all these people from back in the 60s in the US, like they just made music. These guys just made music, and they were together for 9 years before they even got a huge hit record anywhere else. But it just goes to show Raging Fyah has been around for 10 years, and we have solid music. That the catalog, I think there's people covering our songs now. Like I saw one clip on Instagram where people are actually performing Raging Fyah music live. And I mean, yeah, if you're an artist out there and people are covering your songs before you're 30, you're doing something, I think, you know. If people are actually, you know, wanting to sing your songs on stage and even to record them, you know, UB40 as well, we've, you know, linked up with UB40 to do a few stuff. So it's a good feeling for us knowing that the music that we're making is speaking for ourselves, because most people don't know who I am, and that's okay. Most people don't know who Pele is or Anthony or Demar. They might not know the faces of the band. Sometimes we're doing interviews and people are mixing up each other, and I mean, some people would take that as an offense, but I don't think, we don't find that offensive. We find it honorable because we realized that the music is what brought them to us in the first place and not our individual self. Because in truth and in fact, we're just kidding. Yeah, we're good guys. We're really good guys. But the music is what brings people in. And I think if we continue to make good music, then we're going to have so many people listening to our songs in 50, 60, 70 years from now, 100 years from now. Like, I might not be around, but the music will be. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, in the last 5 or 10 years, we've changed the way that we listen to music now. So, we're talking of downloads, iTunes and things, but Raging Fyah kept it true to the roots with vinyl as well, which puts a big smile on my face, of course, as you know.
Yeah, vinyl is king. Like, it's going right back to vinyl. It might not go, entirely back to people, everybody buying their record players, you know what I mean? But it's a good way to consume music if you're really that music lover, because then you get not just that thin MP3 sound from what the digital era has to offer, you get that fat sound that's on wax, and it's not wave either. It's really, it's really more fuller, like, it's authentic sound. So, yeah, we love vinyl. I love vinyl. I collect vinyls myself, so because of that, I think it's a good way to get even my son, who's just 3 years old, interested in where the music is coming from. And who knows, maybe 10 years from now, a Raging Fyah vinyl may be a collector's item, who knows? Yeah.
Well, I know that some of the vinyl box sets that you've done through Shiggy Cornerstone Music, they were already collector's items because a lot of people didn't actually pick those up at the time.
We only made like 500 copies of it, and Chingy is like, yo, so many people want it. Yeah. And we were like, hold it, Chingy, let's just wait a little bit. And then we did it for Destiny, the LP for Destiny, and those are selling pretty well. On this tour, I think we sell more LPs than CDs. And we have way more CDs than LPs, and people are buying more LPs throughout Europe than the actual MP3 CDs. So, yeah.
But I think overall, the fact that the music is available on MP3, vinyl and CD, it is kind of covering to people of all ages, all backgrounds. However people want to access the music, the Raging Fyah catalogue is there.
Yeah, it is. And online-wise, like for the younger people who are computer savvy, I think it's a good thing, like Spotify, Pandora, like we're on all these different platforms, and it's growing quick too, online in terms of people listening to Raging Fyah through different mediums, Sirius Radio as well, like satellite radio throughout the US. We've been getting a lot of airplay through that. But I think nothing beats a performance, a live performance, because when you can have 200 people listening to your song one day, and then when you come to a concert and you have 600, you have 1,000 people listening at the same time. And chances are, out of that 1,000 people at the concert, you're guaranteed 800, who are gonna listen, who are probably gonna leave and actually purchase your music, or not purchase because they have to, but because they want to support you. I think that's what's happening now where music is. So if it's not good, don't look for fans, musicians. You have to have good music, and I think you'll definitely get the support. So I don't buy that idea where they say music is not selling. It is selling, but you have to have what the people want. True. Yeah.
2 songs here in the UK which have really sort of struck a chord with our listeners. Dashwater, of which there's a video out now.
Yeah, Dashwater video. So today, 25th of October 2016, Dashwater video released on YouTube, so you can go and check that out. Tell us if you like it, leave a comment on the Raging Fyah page or underneath the video, and let us know about Dashwater. But my favorite song from the album, apart from Dashwater, is Ragamuffin, and I think that's what gave us that big show in Italy, because it went number 1 in Italy. Ragamuffin went number 1 on the radios in Italy. So, yeah.
And outside of the Everlasting project, you've still been busy in the studio. So you contributed to the We Remember Dennis Brown, the Milk and Honey. How did that come about?
Yeah, well, Milk and Honey song, Clive Hunt. Clive Hunt produced the original In Crowds. So In Crowds is a band from like the 70s, and In Crowds did Milk and Honey with Clive Hunt, was the singer at the time, and he produced that record. And then Dennis Brown came along in the 80s, and he did a second take with Dennis Brown, Milk and Honey, and then he met us years later, and he's like, we're doing a Dennis Brown compilation, and I think I have 2 songs, and he gave us 2 songs. He was like, okay, you can either choose Concrete Castle King or Milk and Honey, and we all chose Milk and Honey as the song that we wanted to do, because we did a research, and then I realized that Clive Hunt actually produced the first one, the second one, and he actually was a singer on the first one. So a third time should be a charm, you know. Yeah.
And outside of that, you've also worked with Icon on that big single "Pass It On" as well. So it seems as though your studio works is growing as well.
Yeah. We're putting in the work in the studio. You know, a lot of different collaborative efforts. Icon is my neighbor, actually, in the country in St. Elizabeth. I grew up seeing Icon next door, not knowing who Icon was.
Okay.
And then, you know, as I got older, my dad and Icon are good friends. So it's like, I still didn't know who Icon was. Like, I didn't know he was legendary until I saw him in Kingston one day. And I was like, what are you doing in Kingston? He's like, yeah, man. And then, you know, months later, he was in Europe with Naja Vibes. And I just started putting pieces together. And strangely enough, the tour before, we had a CD in the bus listening to A Little Walk, his first record. And I didn't know it was Icon. We were just, we know all this. Yesterday I took a little walk and the CD was she there. And I was like, who is this guy? And we all were listening to that CD the whole tour because of Naja Vibes. And then when I met up with Icon afterwards, you know, I was like, yo, I love that record. And then he's like, yeah, let's do a song. And I was like, sure, no problem. And ever since that, we've become really close, Icon and I, because now every time I go home, it's just 2-minute walk to Icon's house. And his son is there, Skunga, who has his production, Skunga Records, you know, release a new rhythm, Hashile rhythm. You know, so I mean, you can check that out from Skunga same way, and Shemdan and the whole of the artists them around him still. So we give thanks, man. Icon.
So one thing you mentioned a few minutes ago, the 25th of October, this is the date of the show here at the Jazz Cafe. It also marks the day of the passing of one of our legends, the Cool Ruler himself.
Yeah, Father Gregory. Yeah, man, Father Gregory Isaac, you know. We give thanks, Night Nurse, and all those hit songs that Gregory Isaac. Like, I used to listen to Gregory Isaac when I was in Edna Manley. I listened, like, hard Gregory Isaacs, because I like the groove that was in the musicianship, you know, from his records. I think Flabber Holt and some of those guys played some of the records, and just listening to the drum and bass in most of Gregory's songs with his vocal, you know, it was really something special. So I never met Gregory Isaac in person, so he passed away before, you know, I got to meet him. But, you know, rest in power, Gregory. Yeah, man.
Kumar, a message for all the Fyah Squad that are watching this video here live and direct on World of Reggae.
Yeah, well, if you're not here tonight, 25th of October 2016 in the London Jazz Cafe, then you're going to have to make sure you watch this video. So don't start watching the video and don't get to this part where I'm actually making you feel like you should have been at London Jazz Cafe.